What if you could take that risk, make that change, reach that goal, live your best life? Welcome to another episode of the What If You Could podcast, where we get together with amazing experts and everyday people. I'm your host, Gary Scott, and I'm excited that you're along for the ride. Hey, everybody, it's Gare, and welcome to another episode of What If You Could. And basically, this is about healing, it's about trying things you didn't think you could, it's about getting in relationships, out of relationships, just about really thinking to yourself, stop saying you can't do anything, because what if you could? And I know us potosphere people always say, man, I'm so excited to have our next guest. Because we usually really are. We're happy if anyone will come talk to us. But today, I'm super thrilled to have our next guest because I actually did work with this young lady. She was kind enough to give me a session with myself and my wife on what she does. And I came out just going, holy crap. So I begged, sniveled, and pleaded to get Susan Dunn to come in and sit with us. And so I'll tell you a quick little bit about Susan. So uh, Susan's journey into wellness started relatively early. At age 15, she was already working in physical therapy. By 1988, she was a licensed body worker, and a few years later, she was bringing on-site chair massages to some of LA's biggest companies like Mattel and the Getty. Fast forward, Susan co-founded a large wellness facility in 2008. Great timing to start anything. Congratulations. Making a huge impact on her desert community and mentoring local youth. In 2019, a major life event prompted her to shift gears, leading to the creation of Elements in the Desert in 2020. Now, as a breathwork facilitator, Susan helps people heal emotionally and physically, offering her unique services both in person and online. Susan's passionate. I can absolutely confirm that. She's passionate about helping others live a happy, healthy, and pain-free lives. And in her spare time, she loves hiking, traveling, and hanging out with her husband and two adorable golden doodles. I just am excited to welcome my friend, Susan Dunn. Susan,
Hi
thank you so much
there.
for coming on.
Thank you for having me. This is so fun.
Well, we were talking and you said, listen, dude, I might come on your thing, but you've got to try the breath work. And you're kind enough to say, come on in, I'll even work a deal. I go, no, I'll pay it because this is going to be exciting. And I went in completely scared. I went in not wanting to do this. My wife was excited to no end, but your breath work is it's unbelievable. I mean, I really don't know how to describe it, so I'm going to let you describe it for us.
Well, thank you again for having me. Gary, I think it took us a year, perhaps. I think we had been kind of chatting back and forth. I think it was like a year it took you to finally say, all right, I'll come in and try it. So I'm really proud that you did because healing it's not an easy thing. And it's, a lot of people are intimidated by breath work because they don't know what to expect. So yeah, it is magical, definitely.
It
So I
is,
was
and
kind of
and I
just
think I think I don't know. I can imagine why people have a little trepidation because we don't want to expose ourselves. We're afraid of actually seeing ourselves, right, and our wounds and stuff like that. And and although you do it very gently, wow, some stuff came flying out of there. It was like poltergeist. So tell us a little bit back. Let's go back a little bit. Let's start. I mean, you knew early that you were a healer or you were kinesthetic or that you just touch was important to you. Is that what it was?
actually. When I was 10 years old, I started doing massage. I worked on my sister who had an arthritic condition, and I was very naive. And she said, "I'll be your best friend if you give me a massage." So I was like in her room every day trying to win over my older sister.
Sisters, man, they can work it.
So from there, I would, sleep over at my friends' homes and work on their parents. I got invited over to sleep over at my friends' homes a lot. And then, just family. And then at age 15, I was working back office at a physical therapy clinic. And, it just kind of, I could feel energy with people and just very intuitive. And I think that's a gift that you're given. And through working back office at the physical therapy clinic, some people there are just like, "You should do this for a living." And I'm like, yeah, 15. I mean, you don't know what you want to do, right?
Yeah.
So I worked at, physical therapy offices and chiropractor offices and chiropractic offices. And then off to college I went, and I was going to become a physical therapist. And for me, it was very difficult because I have test phobia. Gary, the
You
stuff
have
act
you have what?
test phobia.
What is that?
Like you tell me something's a test and everything just flies out the
Oh, to
window.
touch?
Test, like to take
Oh,
a test. And
interesting.
so
That kind of
I would
makes
know
it
the material.
difficult to touch people.
Oh yeah. So I would, you tell me it's a test and things just fly out the window.
Yeah.
So, you know, I was like, that was difficult for me. So you needed straight A's, and I was cutting B's and C's and a few A's. But like I would know the material, but you tell me it's a test, even at the DMV test, it's like it's bad. Something I'm working on. Maybe I need to do more breath work
So
on
would
that.
that be called performance anxiety? It's like you
Yep.
got everything up to it was great, but when it was time to like actually take the test, you're like, ah,
Yeah, I guess so. Well,
sounds
so
like
I
me.
decided that I researched and that you could actually massage was a profession and a trade and you could go to school for that. So off to the school, I went down and checked it out, and I come back to my mom, and I'm like 18, between 18 and 19 at that point. And I said, "Mom, I know what I want to do." And she says, "Well, what is that?" And I said, "I want to do massage." Now, my mom's very old fashioned lady. And she looked at me, she goes, "You want a what?" And I said, "I'm down. It's legit. It's legit profession." So off to school, she went with me to check it out, make sure I wasn't getting anything,
Right?
anyway. So she luckily supported me. And I did like 4 months of school and under like 6 weeks because I had been doing it all my life. So muscles and anatomy and physiology and all that we learned in school was easy for me. So uh, fast forward, then I started an on-site chair massage. I was 22 years old at that point, and I was going around LA Basin and Century City and Thousand Oaks and working on putting wellness, on-site chair massage. I was one of the front runners then, doing that into corporations. So it was really nice to put touch into corporate America, because at that point there was a lot of, things, um, different things that people had to go through, sexual harassment and this and that, what you can say and what you can't say.
Yeah.
So like I couldn't say that there was stress, that we help with stress. They don't want that word in there. So I was part of the wellness team, and putting, touch, little 10-minute, 15-minute breaks that they could sign up for. Some companies would subsidize a portion, other companies would just allow me space, and I had therapists work for me, and that was really great. Then I had moved out to the desert here, and I had sold that business because it was too hard to run from both places. And I had a
Were
partner
you
at that.
before we get to the desert, were you always entrepreneurial like that? I mean, because it's not just a kinesthetic and you're into touch and stuff like that, but I mean, you actually, jumped in and started a business and expanded a business. I mean, were you always kind of entrepreneurial that way?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome. Ah,
Yeah. Well, I'll get into, I think my dad helped me with that. So Um, so yeah,
So you came out to the desert and from LA, right? Because you're in
from LA.
LA doing the work.
Yeah, and I opened up a health and wellness facility. I co-owned a health and wellness facility here in the desert, and we did fabulous things. And then just a big life event happened where I helped a friend go through cancer, Gary. And I had been evaluating my life before helping this friend. And um, you know, helping a friend go through cancer and seeing firsthand, the medical bills that come in and, the day to day and the medication and everything. It just was like, life is short. Life is really, really short. And it was just a big life changing for me that I sold my partnership with my business and decided I was going to do life a little different. Um, so I then, let's see, that happened. And then um, I, so that was like a year break with that. And then I had a medical condition or, medical mishap that happened to me. And I always, Gary, have had this opportunity of looking at things that why are things happening for me, not why are things happening to me, right? So I've always just had that, always have had that gift to really, I don't want the frying pan upside the head a lot of times. So one time, I'm always looking at, what's the lesson here? What's the lesson here? And so the medical mishap that I had was that I had turned 50 at that point. And when you turn 50, you go in through for all your medical evaluations. And for your listeners here, I'm going to just be totally transparent with you in my life because and authentic because I want you to realize that or know that I am just like you when I found breath work. And we all have things that happen to us. So when I had turned 50, I went in for a colonoscopy and it was just a routine thing. I went in healthy. Well, I came out fighting for my life. So the man had perforated my colon. He had done 30 procedures that day, which is probably 20 too many. And so I then lived the next 8 weeks on a PICC line. And a PICC line is where you're attached to an antibiotic box. And so again, it was a revelation to me that I was on the right track. That life is
How did
short.
you catch that? I mean, that happened to a friend of mine. And like pretty quickly, he was in really severe pain. Like we got him back from the colonoscopy, went home, we went out to dinner and stuff. And then he was in really bad pain. He thought, well, I got food poisoning or whatever. But then we rushed him to the emergency. I mean, that day, and then he was in the hospital. So did you, I mean, right away, you knew, uh-oh, something is not right.
Same as your friend Gary. I ate dinner. It wasn't till the next day, and I'm like, holy cow, I'm not feeling good. And I was supposed to go to a party in LA, and every hour that kept going by, it was like worse and worse. And they say, oh, you might have some pain from gas or something. And Gary, I like delivered my son natural. Okay, so I'm like, I can handle some discomfort.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it just kept getting worse and worse. I'm like, something's not right. And then I went to urgent care. And luckily, the man at urgent care, when I walked in and explained what had happened, he goes, I know exactly what's happening with you right now. And I'm making a phone call and you need to go to emergency and I will call you in and they will accept you right away. He goes, I used to do colonoscopies and now I gave that up to do this urgent care business. And yeah, thank goodness he knew exactly what had happened to me. So by the
Not
time
to pick on emergency room doctors, but I've been there enough with my past wife and with myself to know that a lot of times they're there just to kind of stitch up and get the heck out of there. They don't really go too deep. So wow, what a blessing. I mean, wow, that was divine intervention right there. You got that guy.
totally, yeah. So then by the time they did the scans and all that, I ended up having surgery at like midnight that night. Yeah, so then they repaired it and then I was on that PICC line. But you know,
How long were you dragging that thing around, that bag of antibiotics?
like 6 to 8 weeks I was on that thing.
8 weeks of antibiotics has got to take a toll on your whole
Yeah,
system. I mean,
24
that
hours a
stuff's
day.
rough.
Yeah, yeah.
Poof.
24
Yeah.
hours a day.
Yeah. But
So,
then you look back and you go, shoot, I could have died. I want to do something. Is that like, was that
well,
your?
well, after that, then COVID had hit, but I wanted between that and finding breath work, I wanted to be able to service my client because I do body work. So the body work I do is more like physical therapy type of massage. I work hand in hand with pain doctors and physical therapists. I'm kind of like your next step after physical therapy or while you're going through physical therapy. So I can do a relaxing massage, but you have to ask me for that. Otherwise, I'm about fixing things like why are problems happening, what's happening with the structure. So I wanted to figure how can I help my clients, because I've been doing this for over 35 years, be less toll on my body. So I went through energy medicine school. So I did 2 years of energy medicine school, and
What
that
is
was
what
really
is
great.
what is energy medicine school?
Yeah.
That's kind of
So
interesting topic.
yeah. So let's go ahead and touch on that while we're here with the energy medicine. You're learning about meridians and your chakras and your these elements in your body. So you have 5 elements in your body, Gary. You have fire, earth, metal, water, and wood. And each of those elements govern 2 organs, a yin and yang or yin and yang organ. And each of those organs govern meridians. Okay, so maybe your viewers have heard of your gallbladder meridian or your heart meridian. Well, each of those meridians and those organs, the organs actually govern emotion. So, you have like your liver is where anger is stored, and lungs, that's where your grief is stored, and your bladder is where fear is stored. So you can't navigate through life and not have had some negative things happen to you, and you start suppressing these, right? Well,
Mhm.
then if you don't deal with that, this is my belief and why I wanted to do the energy medicine along with breath work, is if you keep over energizing an organ, eventually you're going to end up with a diagnosis. Or as a body worker, as a massage therapist, we say you have issues in your tissues because the trauma and things that actually lives in your fascia. So, with the energy medicine, you can, I can test to see if an organ is over energized or under energized, and even your
How do you
chakras.
test for that? Is that a hands-on thing or
Yeah,
just
it's a
by
muscle
looking at
test,
someone or? Oh, okay.
muscle testing. Yeah.
Mhm.
So then, okay, so that's, energy medicine is great. And I incorporate that. You have neurovasculars in your head. It's not to get like super, well, we are going to go woo woo, Gary.
I
You
hope
mentioned,
so. I need
yeah,
some woo-woo.
yeah, we're going. So, you
Because
know,
I'm a big believer. I mean, I'm a big believer in the stones. I'm a big believer in the chakra. I'm a big believer. My wife, like you showed us about the touching and all that stuff. My wife does that stuff all the time. I don't. She does the oils on different parts of her bodies and stuff like
yeah,
that to cleanse and things like that. But you know, it's the real deal. I mean,
it
how
is.
long has that been around? 5,000 years? I mean, like this isn't new woo-woo stuff. I mean, this has been around for thousands of years, right?
Yeah, it's time to awaken everyone because it's time.
Yeah.
And you have so much power inside your body for
Mm.
healing yourself, um, and to be able to help others.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah,
so when you did, so you knew that you had one aspect of it. You go, I'm really good kinesthetically. I'm good with the therapy. I know this and this, but now I'm going to take it to another level. Um, when you went and started working through the course that you took, right? So that kind of
right.
stepped it up a little bit.
Yeah, and with the energy medicine, it was like when I was going through that course, it was, I know this stuff. I've done this before. So it was just, and maybe I had already been doing it, right? Because of the energy and holding people and holding space for people, and through my body work, I can feel that energy. I know that that's there. It wasn't like energy medicine was new to me, but learning the aspects of how to bring energy in and out and how to test, that was wonderful to learn all that. But
Mhm.
then it also, through the body work, I started recognizing, well, not then, but always, that about 90% of people that would come in, there was always emotional component to their discomfort. So that makes sense, right? If
Oh
you're
yeah.
if
Yeah.
you're suppressing emotions,
Well,
your
like
body,
I mean,
the body
the
keeps
term
score.
really is dis-ease, right?
Right.
When people suffer from disease, usually it's dis-ease or some unease in their body, or their blockages or thing that's causing the other, that's just a symptom telling you, hey, something else is wrong. We need to find that. That's not the real problem, right? I mean, when you're working with the energy, you probably, people say, ow, this hurts here. And you're like, no, it's not there. It's somewhere else.
Exactly. Yeah. The body keeps score, definitely. Yeah, and there's that book too. So
That's
I
a good
always
one.
recommend that book because it is so true. So yeah, the body does keep score on all that.
So how long, so it was
So
a 2 year, course to do the healing course.
yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
So then from there, I went to a breath work class, and it was here locally, and this man from another country came, and there was like over 100 people in this ballroom. Gary, it was wild. Okay, so you know that we use the silent headphones and all that, which we'll go over later.
Yeah.
But people were emoting. It was buck wild in there. But for me and what I went through, when I left there, it was clear as day, somebody standing next to me saying, "This is what you're supposed to do." So I started researching it, and it touched my soul so deeply that I researched several practitioners and I went and got certified, and that's what I've been doing. So
It's funny. I talk about, I know a million speakers, probably Tony Robbins and Gandhi and who knows who else talk about passion versus purpose, right? A lot of times you're passionate about something and it becomes your purpose, or sometimes your purpose just comes to you. I mean, you were passionate about the body work. You started so young. Your sister used to grease you for massages and her friends too. But I think now it's moved from a passion to your purpose, right? I mean, it's like your, I mean, when we're with you, it just happened again. It keeps happening. I just keep getting the chills, the goosebumps. When we're with you, it's your purpose. I mean, it's not just a hobby, a job, or a passion. It's your purpose. It's your gift. It's pretty amazing.
thank
So
you.
that's when you knew it right then. You're like, ruh this is I'm doing this.
Yeah. And like you said, yeah, the purpose. I mean, Gary, this work touches me so deep in my soul. I mean, I could start crying right now how much it means to me. Yeah,
Me
it's
too.
really to be able to hold space for people and for people to find their healing and the answers that they've been longing for that's just sitting inside them, waiting for them to pause and just listen. It's remarkable. So to be able to do that for, with people
Was it
is on.
overwhelming initially? Like, especially when you leave a class with 100 people. I mean, we had, eight, nine. I don't remember how many we had in there because I left in a completely different place. I don't remember. I don't remember leaving. Um, but I mean, was that intimidating? And did you say to yourself, I can't do this. I couldn't pull this off? Or were you like, oh, dude, I'm on fire. I'm so gonna do this.
Yeah, it was like that. And I have to tell you, Gary, I used to have the biggest public speaking, phobia. My neck would turn bright red, and I'm like, girl, put on your big girl panties because it's not, it's the message that kept saying is that it's not an option. Get over it. It's that you have to do this. And when that is so strong that I have to show people this work, that that just all went away.
Yeah. Well, I think because it's not something you do. When I watch you, when I experience it, it's not something you do. It's something that comes out of you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that it's happening again. So that's what was so amazing. It wasn't like, oh, she's doing this class or she's putting on a session. It was like, oh no,
Unbelievable.
it's coming out of you. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And so that was the difference. I mean, I've done some meditation classes and drum classes, and I'm a massage junkie. I would reward myself with every real estate closing with a massage. And if I didn't have one coming up, I'd get a massage anyways. So I get all that and the energy work and stuff. This was different. I mean, this literally wasn't you teaching a session. This was coming out of you. And that's what was so empowering, I guess, or amazing. It's hard to put words on it, and that's why you made me do it.
I wouldn't say it's coming out of me, but maybe through me. You know, I think when you're clean and I ask for everybody's guides to be there and everybody to receive there's a lot of prep I do before class, and just ask to be that channel for my words to touch people's heart. And, you know, whatever comes through,
So
that's what
walk
we're
us through
doing.
it. I mean, the first thing I noticed, because I'm like a real note sender. I got it from my mom. Like she's 88 and she still writes handwritten notes, and I send handwritten notes and cards and stuff. I love the little extra touches. I love when I go to a hotel or resort or something, then there's some stupid little extra thing there. Because to me it's thoughtful, right? And I just go, you know what? I like that. It's thoughtful. And we've lost that as a society, right? People just a lot of people aren't thoughtful. I don't want to generalize anyway. But when we walked in, one of the first things I noticed was you had this beautiful little kit for us. Not just the masks, which were going to be mandatory for what we had to do, but just all the little stuff down to the mint. So if you're conscientious about breathing because maybe you had some bad breath or some garlic, so you didn't breathe like you would because you're conscientious about your breath, right? Even to that, it's like, well, then have a mint, don't swallow it while you're on your back. But I mean, that was one of the first things I noticed. And I thought to myself, she's really taken care of us before we even start. And I thought that was really, really
That's
something
nice.
special.
Yeah, the details, right? It's so important in life. Is how you do anything's how you do everything, right? And it's all in the details. You got to show up fully for people, and that's, you know, how I can do that is to provide all those details. Is a sense, right? Not everybody sees that, Gary, but you feel it when you walk in, and that is what people say is, you know, they can feel in the room that they're cared for and loved. And it's just all the details that, and I do, I have a lot of love that pours through me, but
We hope you enjoyed part 1 with Susan Dunn, and that you'll join us for part 2 coming later this week.
Thanks again for joining us on another episode of What If You Could podcast. Please subscribe, like, share, and give us any feedback. We'd love to hear it. And remember, if you can dream it, you can do it. See you next time.